This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase, list it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to or back to the show. Thank you so much for clicking on today's episode. My name is Lily. I'm your host. And this is a pretty special episode because this is episode 200 of the podcast, which quite literally blows my mind that it's episode 200. And when I saw that, because I went on my podcast hosting platform and there was a button that was like, see all 199 episodes. And I was like, wait a second. We're at 200. This episode that I'm recording right now is episode 200. And I've got two things to say about that. First off, no wonder I was feeling burnt out. I've done this 200 times. And then secondly, how cool is it that I've done this 200 times? That's so insane, so crazy that over the past 4 years of this podcast being alive, we've chatted 200 times. Let me know if you have listened to every episode, because I don't even think that I could listen to 200 episodes of the same person talking about the same thing. But I know that some of you have been here since the very, 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 very first day. And that would be super cool if for some reason you've listened to all 200. So let me know if you guys have been here since the start, because that's quite literally crazy. And I just started to go into this reflective episode. You guys know how reflective I am. And I just started thinking about gosh, all the things that we've done. I remember sitting on vacation, recording in a walk-in closet because I was on a family vacation and the house was so noisy. I remember even just last year, getting to record at Spotify. I remember the day that I launched the podcast, how excited I was when even 5 people listened to the show. It's just really cool. Just kind of this flood of memories came back to me. It's cool to look back and just see how far we've come. And there have been some high highs and some low lows with the show. And we're going to keep pushing on. I know a couple weeks ago I was really down in the dumps, but you guys have really just inspired me to continue to push on and push through. And I just know that nothing in life ever comes easy. And being able to look back on how far the show has come is really just a testament of how incredible this community is. Just grateful. I'm so grateful that you guys want to listen to me talk and that you like hearing my stories. And yeah, it's just super cool. So thanks for sticking around, whether this is the first episode that you've listened to or quite literally the 200th episode that you've listened to. Thank you so much. I just so appreciate your support. So today's episode, for our 200th episode, which I didn't even know that it was going to be a 200th episode when I was planning. If I knew that it was going to be the 200th episode, I would have made it bigger and better. We would have gone back and listened to old clips and maybe I would have done a Q&A or something like that. But of course, I'm just not really, I'm honestly not really with it. No, that's a lie. I'm pretty with it, but I don't know. You guys like this type of stuff better that I'm going to talk about. You don't really care about me reflecting on the show. You guys would rather hear me talk about what I'm going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about fun, which is kind of fun in and of itself. And this topic came to mind because I was going through some photographs today. I got a bunch of pictures printed off of Snapfish, which, by the way, if you guys need pictures printed, Snapfish is the way to go. And it's super cheap. I found a discount code too, so that took all the shipping off, and it ended up being $13 for 130 photos. So it was 10 cents a photo. And then I got free shipping, which was super cool. So if you guys need pictures printed, Snapfish is the way to go. I got a bunch of pictures printed from probably the last year or so of my life, and it was just really fun to go through these photos and look at all the memories. And I shed a tear or two. You guys know how sappy I get, and it was just so cool. And it got me thinking of how much fun life is, but you have to create your own fun. And I think a lot of times, especially with social media, in the age of social media, it's really easy to look at photos and wonder if that person was actually having fun, or if that person was just kind of posing for the photo, and if like the memory wasn't that fun. I have memories that I didn't print out because they really were not fun, but they looked good on Instagram. Good example was, what was it called? Oh, Ocean's Calling. Lexi had the opportunity to go to Ocean's Calling with a brand, and that in and of itself is really, really, really cool. She got a +1, so I got to be her +1. And we're super grateful for the opportunity. We could only go for a day though, because we had some things going on like Friday and Sunday. So we could only go for Saturday. Ocean's Calling is a music festival in Ocean City, if you guys don't know that. So it's on the beach, it's all sand, and some really cool bands were coming. Like John Mayer was the headliner for that night. So we were really pumped to see John Mayer. We saw, who was the other person? Gosh, I'm forgetting, because it really wasn't that fun. Noah Kahn was there. And then, guys, I'm not a music festival girl. I'm really, really not. And it's not that I can't hang. No, that's a lie. I definitely can't hang. But the big problem with music festivals, in my opinion, I had the same issue when I would go on college tours. Like, when you're trying to find the perfect school to go to and you go on a college tour, and you just kind of like walk around a lot, and you just kind of hear and see the same things. That's my thing with festivals too. Like, people are just kind of all around you, and they're just trying to get you to buy something, whether it's a beverage or a t-shirt or merch or whatever. And then the people that are around you just don't really know what's going on either, or they're on drugs, which that's not really fun, right? And so all of a sudden, I just wasn't having a good time because I was just surrounded by all these people. And then some guy threw up on my sleeve, but the pictures turned out really, really cute, right? So if you looked back at that memory on Instagram, if you saw it happening, you probably would assume that we were having a blast, which we probably did have a little bit of fun because Lex and I always have a good time together. But as we were walking back to our car, I was in my cowgirl boots that were giving me blisters, and Lex and I were just we probably parked like a mile and a half from where the venue was. And so we're walking, and I just turned to Lex and I was like, Lex, can I be honest with you for a second? She's like, yeah, sure, what's up? It's like, did you have fun? Because I didn't really have very much fun. And we just busted out laughing, like doubled over laughing so hard, because she's like, no, I didn't have fun. I really didn't have fun. And we were like, all right, let's never, ever, ever do that again. Let's never do that again, because it just wasn't a good time. And then we got back to the car, got home, showered, whatever, started feeling good again. And even in retrospect, it wasn't that fun. Like, we probably had a tiny bit of fun, but it really wasn't that fun. But if you looked at the pictures on Instagram, you probably assumed that we had a great time. And I think that that's probably the case with a lot of things on social media, is you just kind of scroll through, you assume that everyone's having the time of their life, but really you're seeing like a quick little snippet of what really happened, and you're not really seeing the full picture, quite literally the full picture. And so that kind of got me thinking this morning when I was going through all these photos, because a lot of these photos have more of a story behind them. And so I started to flip the pictures over and write on the back, January 2023, dinner with so-and-so, or whatever it was. And I wanted to have a note of like what really happened in the photo, because 10, 15, 20 years down the line, if I'm showing these to my kids or my grandkids, like if they open up this box of photographs, like how cool it would be to flip it over and see the date and what happened. And I wrote down like the names of people who were in the photo, because, in 20 years, I might not remember all the names of the people in a photo. Like if it was just kind of like a blip in time or a friend of a friend, like, I know now, but I'm not going to know 15 years from now. So it was just kind of cool to like make note of the additional story behind the photo. And that's, I think, what you're missing a lot of times when you log on to social media is the true full picture, the full story of what really went down. And if it was really that much fun. And then I got to thinking even more, how do you make sure that you're having more fun than it looks in your photos? Because there are plenty of photos where it's just staged, it's posed, it's not really that much fun. But how do you make sure that every single moment, it can't happen all the time, but for the most part, is like 80 to 90% of your life fun? If you can truly say that 80 to 90% of your life is fun, I think you're in a good spot. We hosted Run Club over at our place last night for dinner because it's 96 degrees outside, feels like 110, and way too hot to run. I think everyone would have been kind of miserable. And we tried it last week and no one was feeling great. So we were like, let's just have dinner. Let's have dinner at our house, do a devotional, just have a little night. And it ended up being like 12 or 13 girls. And we just had the best time. And it was super cool just to like have everybody in one room and socialize and get to know each other outside of like heavy breathing because you're running and like trying to hold a conversation with someone, but like they want to push the pace. And it was just a cool opportunity to get to know each other on a different level. And we were having so much fun that we just forgot to take pictures. I think I snapped like 2, but it was of people getting food and like there's people eating in the back. And I'm like, I cannot post this because this doesn't do it justice. Okay. And I just was having too much fun to take a picture. And I think that's how you know that the moment was really good, is that you just truly are so deep in it that you don't take a picture. You don't pull out your phone. You're not texting someone else. You're not trying to Instagram the moment to prove that you're having a good time. You just truly are. Ultimately, I think pictures are not, at your core if the moment was fun or not. And sometimes you just pull out the phone and it works and you snap a pic. That's another thing too, is like if it's not your moment, but you have the opportunity to snap a picture because you just think to, and someone else is having a big moment. Maybe it's like your friend's daughter's first birthday party, or your friend's getting married and everyone's getting ready and you just happen to be there and you could snap a photo, or it's someone else's event and they're not thinking about it because they're too into it, but you're kind of like, you're having fun, but you're more adjacent to it than anything. And you snap a pic because you want them to remember the memory. I've tried to really start doing that if I'm at someone else's thing, because I feel like I host a lot of things and it's super cool when people send me a picture that I didn't even know was taken. And it's just really cool. So anyway, that's a little note on photo sharing there.
With Amex Platinum, you can really be in the now. Access to Resi Priority Notify. Yes! 4 p.m. checkout with fine hotels and resorts booked through Amex Travel.
We needed this.
And dedicated card member entrances at select events.
Let's go!
Means you can focus on the present moment. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withAmex. Card member entrance access not limited to Amex Platinum Card.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. With over 122 million parts, you can make sure your number one ride or die stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all black everything phase, list it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
So I kind of just got to thinking, like, boy, is this life fun. I'm having a lot of fun. And I don't want to sit here and be like, trying to brag or anything. I'm just trying to drive home a point of like, you kind of have to make your own fun. You're kind of responsible, like anything in life, you're responsible for your actions, for your words. You're responsible for your own fun. And I hear a lot of times, like, how to find community. How can I stop being lonely? How can I make new friends? And I think it starts first and foremost with deciding that you are going to have fun no matter what. You're going to find the good in any situation. You're going to find peace in any situation. You're going to find a little piece of something to be grateful for in any situation. And I think that that truly comes from God. I think about the types of fun that I used to have in comparison to the fun that I have now. And I can definitely say that life with God is a lot more fun than life without God. There's this song that Lexi played for me in the car the other day. I had her send it to me so I could tell you guys which one it was. It's called After Party by One House. And it's a super cute song. And it's just basically about how, like, people try to come up with their worldly view of fun. And a lot of times the worldly view of fun is partying a lot. And I was never like a crazy partier, but like I definitely would spend, like, I would drink a lot on the weekends, and like that was kind of my idea of fun. When you take a step back and you look at the worldly view of fun, it's a very like instant gratification type perspective. Whereas fun with God is, I mean, yeah, you can get that instant gratification, you know, if your idea of fun is like eating a good meal, like of course in the moment you're going to have fun. But I think a lot of times fun with God, it's just not fleeting. You know, it's like you could find fun sitting in your house on a rainy day because you invited some of your favorite people over, or you could have fun just reading a book, or you could have fun just, sometimes I hear the word like wholesome fun tossed around because it's like, it's truly wholesome. Just like hanging out, enjoying people's company, not really having a to-do list, not having like a list of requirements and boxes that you have to check in order to like have fun. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. Like you can just sit and be present, whether it's with other people or just yourself and with God. And like that could be fun. And for me, that is fun. I hear a couple different variations of fun tossed around. Sometimes people refer to type 1 fun as fun while it's happening, type 2 fun as fun in retrospect, which is like, I guess maybe if you ran like a race or something, say you did a marathon, it's probably hard while it's happening, but it's kind of cool, kind of fun in retrospect. And then type 3 fun is just not fun at all. Like you aren't sure why you did it in the first place. And I kind of have a problem with type 3 fun because I think for the most part, you can find fun or at least a glimpse of it. Maybe let's use like a more broad term, maybe contentment. You can find contentment in any situation if you bring God into it. And I know that that sounds cliche. I know that that sounds corny, but it is so true. You can find a little bit of contentment, at least a little tiny bit, in any situation, in any circumstance, even if it's not that fun. As young people, as 20-somethings, a lot of times there's a big fear that kind of lingers over our head, and it lingers over mine a lot too. Kind of like a big dark cloud, but it's the fear of what am I supposed to do with my life? What am I supposed to do? And I look around and I see people that have really awesome jobs and they're advancing professionally, or I see some of my friends, they've worked really hard in their sport or in their fitness training, and they're about to go do something cool with that. Or I've got some friends that are married or about to get married, or they're about to have kids. It's just crazy to think of how many different spots all of us are in, but we all kind of have this common ground. It doesn't matter where you are, like what part of the timeline that you fall on. We all kind of have this same question of what am I supposed to do with my life? And I think that's a fun ruiner. Like when you're just in a moment having a good time, and then this little fear creeps in of like, you're not really where you're supposed to be, or I don't think that you can afford that, or professionally, I don't think you're ever going to get there. And it really kills the fun. Have you ever been in a room full of people and then someone walks in that just like brings down the group on such a deep level? Like this person just walks in, they've got the dark cloud hovering over them. They just always have something negative to say. They just always are maybe complaining. They're stressed out. They're projecting their stresses and anxieties and fears and worries and concerns onto everybody else. They're complaining for no reason. There are people that walk around like this, and they are fun ruiners. And sometimes the same thing happens with our own thoughts in our own head. And obviously this question of what am I supposed to do with my life is a good question to ask. Like you should try at least your hardest to pray about it, think about it, meditate on this idea of what am I supposed to do? What is my true purpose? What's my calling? What are my gifts? Pray about that. 1,000% pray about that. But also don't forget that God has a plan for you. My favorite verse, one that I've had memorized since I was in middle school, even before I really had a relationship with God, is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. His plans for your life are always going to be fun. It might be type 2 fun. It might be fun in retrospect because it might be challenging. It might be hard. You might have to do something that you don't want to do, but He will never fail you. He will never, ever, ever give you a challenge that He didn't think that you could handle. Actually, maybe I take that back. I think sometimes God gives us things that we can't handle because He needs us to need Him. You know, like he needs us to really be pushed over the edge a little bit. So we need to grab onto Him, because without faith, what's the point? You know, without having to have faith, what's the point? So when you're going through the motions of everyday life, if something doesn't feel fun, that's okay. It's not all supposed to be fun all the time. But you can find little pockets of fun or even huge pockets of fun if you make an effort to do so. Ultimately, I think fun is a side effect of joy, of love, of contentment, of just really having the ability to make the best out of any situation. And we talked about the different types of fun, like type 2, type 1, whatever. But I really believe, even thinking back to my example of the music festival, like we didn't have fun, you know, it wasn't like the most fun I've ever had, but being able to laugh about the fact that we didn't have that much fun is kind of fun. Like, did we enjoy it totally? No, not really. Were we kind of amused by it though? Yeah, a little bit. And it was just very lighthearted. Like, that's just the definition of fun. I just Googled it. Enjoyment, amusement, and lighthearted pleasure. So when it comes down to it, I think you're really responsible for your own fun, and you should never stop having it. And because you're responsible for your own fun, you get the opportunity to decide if a certain situation is fun or if it's not fun. It's kind of a mindset, right? Or a mindset shift. Like, you get to decide if this is fun or not, and you get to decide if it's going to be more fun than the photos. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, to the 200th episode of 80/20. That's so crazy. If you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to subscribe to the show, give it a follow, give it a rating and a review. I was going to say like and subscribe. That's from my YouTube days. Give it a rating, a review, because that just helps more people find and listen to the show. Huge thank you to you guys for all your sweet reviews. It's been really, really encouraging to read those and just see how the show's impacted you. So thank you so much for writing reviews. I love you guys so much, and I will be back next Thursday with another episode. But until then, have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you soon.